Jay, Travel by Jay. We're here with our weekly episode Between Departures, and this one we're going to dedicate to our U.S. veterans, with me being a veteran myself. So
I was going to say.
I am Jay, and I have my beautiful co-host, my wife, Soraya.
Hi, good afternoon, good day. We hope everybody's doing well, and yes, I think this time around we should kind of dedicate this episode to those who have served our country, but also with like a travel twist. And I guess I'm lucky because I get to have you here next to me, and I want to turn the tables around a little bit on you. So yeah.
So I don't know. That's a loaded question. Since I
It is,
turn the table around. Last time I allowed somebody to make a decision for me, I ended up in the Far East in Japan.
There you go.
For 3 years.
Well, don't worry about it. I'll be nicer than your Uncle Sam.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, he gave me a sea bag and a one-way ticket.
Hey, 3 meals and a cot.
Had a bunk.
And a bunk?
I had a bunk.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Okay,
I wasn't in the army. No harm with the army. I wasn't going to be in the army. I was sleeping in the woods or the desert.
There you go. Absolutely.
No.
So I think, again, when we're thinking about our veterans, we definitely owe such deep gratitude. I am a mother of a veteran as well myself. So, again, you and I got together so late in life. You had already gone through your Navy days, but you do get to see all of the sacrifices our service members make. And not just their service members, but also their families, and holidays missed, birthdays, anniversaries, in some instances, births of their children, because obviously you can't take, or you can't come up to Uncle Sam and say, hey, I can't make it this week.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I joined at the young age of 17, and not really knowing the magnitude of the responsibilities. And honestly, I have to say that it wasn't until now there's many aspects of that. So it wasn't until, I would say, last year, when we went to, we was in Italy, when we went to Sigonella, the joint base there, and we were getting our ID, in order to be able to go to the commissary and exchange and stuff like that. That I think I looked at you and I said, I was seeing how young these young men and women, because I'm calling them men and women because they took the oath at the age of 17 or 18 or 19 or whatever, and they're... But
it's a very adult job.
So they have this responsibility of safety and security for this base. They're carrying the rifles, the sidearms, and they're checking IDs and passports and other documents. And this is their job, their responsibility. But I think I took a look at them and I saw how young they were. And I think I kind of looked at you and I laughed at a sense and I said, that was us.
Yeah.
Me and my little buddies, this was us.
Absolutely.
And here we are decades later, being on the other end of that, being veterans, because we've done our time and we're here, and we're blessed to be here. And what came out of that was a lot of friendships that I've developed throughout the years, a brotherhood.
Yeah.
So it's a brotherhood and sisterhood that you really develop, and you don't have an understanding of the magnitude unless you're in it.
Right.
But
you're in essence, you do make very deep relationships because you are all in instances where your lives depend on each other. I mean, you were actually in the Gulf War.
oh, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, relationships are deep because they're the people you have to rely on, because obviously you were in some very dicey situations together.
Yeah, you know.
So yeah,
lost a few friends along the way, and big ups to them, and may they rest easy.
Right.
And you know, we take that homage.
But yeah, I thought it was funny to
But-
see you and how shocked you were on how young these guys in Sigonella looked.
Yeah, because even I go out and I post sorts of my old pictures, and I look and I'm like, wow, that dude had hair. He was like half the man I was, but he was in shape, but it's great. But one thing that I don't think that I hope some of them take advantage of is to being in a place and having the opportunity to travel and to be in a different country.
Right.
Myself, I did right out of the gate. I went to Japan for 3 years. So, and being over there, I got a chance to explore so many places. Now, being in Japan itself, I did take an opportunity to get a chance to enjoy a lot of the culture.
Well, you
I
definitely
enjoyed it as much as a 17, 18, and a 19-year-old could enjoy it at that time with the mindset.
Right. But I feel that you really did embrace the culture. I'm sure it must have been really shocking as a 17-year-old to be in a country that was completely different from anything you had ever experienced.
Oh yeah. Growing up in Georgia, that was not. They did not eat rice and things like that with two sticks, as I called it then.
Yeah.
Don't want to offend anybody, but that was my mindset. And raw fish, I'm like, who in the world would do that? Hey, I'm so used to having a fish fry. Let's do this. And you know, of course, the language was shocking, and even just the culture, mannerisms, behaviors. You know, we had to go through a thing that was called Midway IDOC, because I was on the USS Midway, which is now a museum in California in San Diego. But they tried to give us a little version of that, just introduction to the culture, some things that kind of keep you out of trouble for the most part.
Yeah.
And it did. It was great.
I give them credit for that. That's great.
Hey, we got around. We didn't have the Google Maps. We didn't have the Google translators. You know, we actually learned the language, and that's what I did. I learned the basic language where I still remember some.
Most people don't know that you actually do speak Japanese.
So,
well, you can definitely defend yourself.
I can get in trouble, but can't get out of it. So that's where you call the embassy for me, please. But and having that concept when we do our travels now, and we take our groups out, we kind of do that NDOC as well. Or if I get people that are traveling overseas in a country they've never been to, we actually take the time to try to give them a few basic phrases, give them, you know, a couple do's and don'ts, and kind of give them some hints, because you don't want them to go over there, do something offensive, to get themselves in trouble because they just don't know.
It could happen.
Or 3, you expect it to be America. It ain't the United States when you go somewhere else.
Right.
So that's something that I think that what we do and kind of adapt it, but it came from that initial concept that I had to experience at 17.
So what you're saying is the U.S. Navy is responsible for your love of travel. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I had the bug before then. I wanted to see the world, and coming from Georgia, there's no way. But so I remember the old slogan from the Navy: "It's not just a job; it's an adventure." And so that's why I went out. I wanted to have my world adventure, and God knows I've gotten it. You know, and so
okay, that's a way of definitely looking at it. Most people would have been like, "Man, I signed up, and I had to work, 16 hours or, 10 hours or 12 hours and without really seeing, the aspect of the fact that you were getting an education and culture anywhere you went. So
you're true. It's true. It's facts. People don't look at that, but you have to look at things. I knew what I wanted.
With that in mind, I know that you always talk about like how many countries you have visited and how many countries you have left to see and how many continents you have been in. So definitely you have absolutely traveled. So tell me, what was your favorite place as a young Navy guy that you were sent to?
Wow, that's a loaded question because so many places I went, they had their own uniqueness and loveliness.
Not necessarily a free bar tab.
I mean, hey, it was what it was. It depended on what we were doing. Of course, I had a passion for Japan. It was a place that I had grew in. I grew up in that sense. Yeah. And I fell in love with Japan, with the people, the kindness, the safety. Out of the 3 years there, we never locked our apartment door there. I mean, we didn't have to. It was that safe. And coming from the United States, you would never think about that. Unfortunately, the only people that I would see or have that crime were, of course, other servicemen who were doing the mischievous stuff.
Right.
But no, Japan was one. I love that.
So they were a very welcoming culture then to foreigners?
Welcome to an extent on where you went. You know what I mean? I mean, again, you kind of figure Japanese is one culture, one people. That's how they were. And then everybody else went there. So, just like us, we shied away from things that we didn't know. If they didn't understand, if they didn't understand English, they would do certain things and you would be like, oh, okay, I understand if you understood that. Like, I remember, somebody doing me like this one time and it wasn't the fact that, oh, you smell or whatever. It's just, which I probably was. It was the fact that, hey, I don't speak English. And so and you understood that and you would, either move on or hey, maybe this place is not for me because it's not going to be conducive.
Well, you weren't going to be able to communicate.
Correct. But I was blessed in where I was living at the time, and there was no Americans, there was no signage, everything was in Japanese. Right. So I'd have the markets that I go to, but I spoke enough to get around. They knew who I was. Once they got comfortable with me, so coming in on a regular basis, they knew I wasn't causing trouble, but I could speak the basic language. And by the way, I did learn my Japanese from translator books, dating, and cartoons. I couldn't, you put me in front of the news, I would be totally lost, right? Because that's like above my head.
Notice.
But when it comes to the cartoons, the animation, it was on a 5 or 6 year old level. So I learned the basics from there and then moved up to where I was being able to be fluent and learn how to read and write as well.
And that's where your dating got better, huh?
That's where the dating got better. We had some great tutors. Young Jay. That's how we talk to. We talk about Young Jay. That guy was somebody special back then.
Young Jay and Young Saraya would have never mixed, but neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So how did that experience shape how you see traveling today? Wow.
Well, this is the best way I can explain it. So growing up in Georgia, it's the South. It's how the military gave me that traveling, that experience. It's like growing up in the South, had to, live my life coming from humble beginnings, doing my thing. My world was black and white. And what I mean is you sit there and you watch a black and white TV. I could see trees, I could see grass, I could see cars. But you knew what the objects were, but you didn't understand the depth of it, right? Because it was in black and white. But when I joined the service, I joined the Navy, I had this, my world became colorful, like a color TV, you know, that I could see things. I remember one of the first foreign languages I remember hearing was Tagalog, which is, you know, the Filipino language in boot camp. And I was like, what the heck is this? You know, I mean, coming from my ears in Georgia
Right.
and hearing this language, but going into the world with the military, it made my world colorful. That it was just like vivid. It's like, oh my God, this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what it smells like. This is what it tastes like. I am not looking.
Different.
I'm not looking at TV anymore. I'm living real life.
Right.
Like one of the things I really wanted to do was that Navy commercial. They had these sailors in their uniforms and they were in Hong Kong and they had junk, which is the older Chinese ships. And you know, you ever see the old kung fu movies, you may see them in there, but if you see them, and I was like, oh my God, I want to see that. And I was, you know, when I joined the Navy, less than a year later, I'm sitting there in the Hong Kong, China, the Hong Kong, the channel,
Right.
and we're going in, and I'm seeing these junks all over the harbor in person. And you can only imagine what I was like. This smile and this grin was so large, so huge. But that was like, if I can see this,
Bucket list.
yeah, if I can see this image that I had as a kid in Georgia, I can see everything else.
You can.
So then I wanted the world to be my oyster, and I pop it, and I want to continue to get these pearls.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So thinking from the perspective of being in the military, and most people would probably think automatically, the military teaches you how to adapt and how to adapt quickly and how to execute even quicker, if that's possible. But I'm sure that they did. So how has that? How have you been able to adapt that mindset to your travel now? And I know the answer to that because I travel with you, but I wanted to hear it from you.
Well, it does. It teaches you that, you know, from the military mindset going over to being, you know, what I did and you know, in my career in law enforcement, you're learning how to have these decisions. But that foundation did come from the military to where, hey, this is where you at. You got to make critical decisions, and you just have to make choices. And it does. It creates that quick thinking.
Yeah.
But it teaches you that there's more than one way to say water.
Yeah.
You know?
But and I would guess that in the military, obviously you have to adapt because it's a life or death thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the outcome is a lot more serious, so to speak. But you do the same thing when you're traveling, and I've seen you in action when something quite doesn't go one way. You automatically, you know, pivot.
Yeah, critical thinking is a part of life, and it's a part of traveling. Because you're right, when we go to places where we may not understand the language, the cultures, something happens or something occurs, what are you going to do? Are you going to freeze and yell for help? Because nobody's going to come from help because they probably not understand what you're saying, right? But you have to be able to adapt to the situation and know that, you know, how to manage it, how to manage people, you know, learning those basic tools from that own self-indoctrination of knowing that let me learn something that's going to be a critical thinking tool for me when I go to a country, whether it's understanding the emergency numbers, my locations, and you know, and everything is not critical, but I'm in a restaurant. I need to figure things out. You know what I mean?
That's so funny.
God knows I don't want to get something at all, because I did try some interesting things on our travels once.
I was more or less thinking of the fact that you and I have always kind of differed a little bit when we sit in a restaurant together, because I usually don't like to have my back to the door, but you certainly don't like to have your back to the door.
That's a God thing. That's a God thing too. So I just want to see everything that's coming and going. You know what I mean? You know, honestly, because honestly, I love you, but I do pay attention to a little bit more things, probably a little bit more closely.
Absolutely. No, and I agree with you 1,000%, but you know why I do that? Because you're there.
Because I'm walking in and I need to see what's going on. I need to make sure what's happening. You know.
Yeah. But that's why I tell you, it's like I am more relaxed because I know that you got it taken care of.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, absolutely.
So, back to the fun part of traveling. Is there a place that you would like to go back to now that you were at with the Navy? So, in other words, you want to see what's that phrase that you always say? A man's world.
You want to see a boy's world through a man's eye. Through a man's eye.
So, what would you like to experience? What place would you like to experience again now as an adult? Because maybe you didn't realize the magnitude of the place you were at as a young man.
Well, as much we're going to Japan, and that's one of the things. But
going to Japan.
I do want to get a chance to go back to Thailand, and we're going to do that as well.
Yeah.
But one of the things I would like to do is go back down to the land down under. Go back to Australia. I mean, we were there.
Shrimp and the Barbie.
I did Perth, Fremantle. We did Sydney. So I did do the Opera House.
Right.
I did the zoo. So I did things, but there's so much more things to do, and I don't have to worry about when I go back. I don't have to worry about duty. I don't have to worry about missing the ship, and you know what I mean. And not being a target. Many times as a young sailor, you go places, you're a target. You're looking at you. Hey, you probably have some money. He's gonna get drunk. Let's roll him and let's get his money. You know what I mean. But to go somewhere as a tourist and have this anonymity, and especially the way the world is now, where it's becoming more of a tourist place, everybody's sharing their culture, that I think I get a chance to enjoy it a little bit because I ain't as broke as I was before either. I just got a little money. Ooh. Not much.
I was gonna say, where is it hiding? I know there's a secret account somewhere.
God, there ain't no secret account. I wish.
So, did you ever make it then to Mount Fuji?
No, I've seen it from many, many distances. Many of the places there from Hokkaido. Which is where Sapporo beer is made. I've been there. I've been down to The Rock, which is Okinawa, Kadena. I've been in that place. So I've been all over in Sasebo. I've been everywhere up and down. But I didn't go to Mount Fuji. You know what? I'm sorry. I had no idea. And well, I had no desire to go to Mount Fuji. Whereas this time, now I want to go and appreciate, like, wow, I saw Mount Fuji with my own eyes. Yeah. Now I can go there and actually see Mount Fuji.
I remember how thrilled you were when we did our excursion to Mount Etna. The fact that you didn't even go to Mount Fuji, well, again, 17-year-old probably would not have cared what Mount Fuji looked like.
It's a mountain. I can see it from a distance with snow at the top. That means two things. It's cold and it's cold. I'm good with that, right? That's me. But I'm okay with that.
Right.
But I do go back and say, as that young kid, I want to thank my fellow servicemen and women who are out there serving and doing their thing. Hope everybody make it back home. I was one of the ones that did make it back, through a few tours. But understanding the opportunity that you get to travel while you're in these locations, take advantage of it.
Right.
When you're on leave, every day don't have to be a club day. I mean, when you're off, but go out and enjoy it. You get a chance to know the people, the culture.
Right.
Because your older self would appreciate it, because basically, face it, you won't go get an opportunity to go back to many of these places as you get older unless you make a conscious effort. And right now, we're making a conscious effort to visit a lot of these places, to do these things, because you know, I realized how much I shortchanged myself. You know, there was some countries that I really enjoyed, and I really got a chance to go step into seeing the culture. But then there was many that it was like, you know, hey, we got 4 days off, 5 days off. Hey, I remember going to Dubai, and when Dubai was nothing. I mean, it was like really just dirt. Now you look at it, it's amazing. This place, this multi-billionaire place. So I do want to go back there and see it, you know.
I'm game.
So all these places. So I just think it's good.
Yeah.
With the exposure that I had in the service.
Absolutely.
You know, you got paid no matter what. You still traveled. You got a chance to see this. I think it's an amazing experience, and I really appreciate that. That was a decision that young Jay made that his older Jay really appreciates.
That's wonderful.
You know?
And, you know, again, when you're looking at the perspective from the active members of the military right now, again, our prayers are always there for your safety. We know the world is a little uncertain right now, but definitely we definitely pray for your safety and your safe return home. For the veterans, again, I know just exactly how much when you're in active duty, how much you miss out on your family days, on your holidays, on your experiences at home. And we definitely thank you for that.
Thank you for the sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely. And to those families, definitely those families that also sacrifice the time with their loved ones. The mothers and the wives that have to do double duty because the husbands are out there, and vice versa. There are a lot of women that serve in the military, and the husbands are probably home doing the same thing, you know, taking care of the kids and taking care of the house and still working and doing 50,000 other things. And they are a single household for at least half the year.
You know what I want to do next year?
So much to do. What?
I think that we should put a group together for a veterans cruise next year.
Oh, are you gonna take me to Normandy Beach? Because I definitely have that in my bucket list.
No cruise going there, honey. Ain't no cruise going
I
there.
get that.
And I think that what I want to do is, I know we were trying to find a purpose and a reason to give away a cruise.
Yeah.
And I think we should be able to give away a cruise to a veteran next year.
I think that would be fabulous. You heard it here.
So we're going to put that together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And from one veteran to another, we're looking for you. You're out there, and we're going to put out maybe we'll put things out to give you an opportunity and to put yourself in the pool, or we'll figure it out.
We'll figure
but I think
something out,
that's
and then
good.
we'll put it out there and share it with everybody. So, from a U.S. citizen, as a U.S. citizen and your wife, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you did. Thank you for coming home. And to your fellow veterans out there, my son included, thank you for your service. We really do appreciate you. And not everybody heard that calling, and you guys did. So, with that being said, travel safe.
Travel often.
Travel by Jay.